Hello and welcome to another edition of Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham, where Team Needham discusses everything healthcare. I'm your host, along with my wonderful wife, Janet, and we are streaming live from the Team Needham Abode podcast studio and are super excited to have Lori Krajewski back on our show. She's going to be talking about regenerative detoxification formulas. This isn't the first time we've talked about detoxification. She's going to be talking about what that is and the best way to detox. So without further ado, Lori, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having me again. It's good to see you guys.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background, Lori.
About my background. So as a kid, I was very sick. I often had strep throat and several rounds of antibiotics. And as I'm sure you know, that set me up for a whole host of digestive issues moving forward through much of my life, which led to other issues, which led to other issues. And at that time, there weren't a lot of answers to be found. I know I'm dating myself a little bit with that, but we didn't have internet. We didn't have a lot of resources to find answers. And it just kind of sent me on a trajectory of having to be my own doctor and my own healer and find my own solutions. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of bumps and trial and error along the way. So what I've done is compiled about 30 plus years of research and trial and error and found solutions that actually do work. And I became a naturopathic provider and share all of the things with anybody who wants to heal.
That's awesome. So it seems like all of us have, our health journey of how we started where we're at usually starts with a health journey of our own. Mm-hmm. And then we usually start sharing that with other people. And I mean, I can say that's what happened with me. So Jen, do you have any questions for Lori?
So Lori, I'm just really curious, when did you decide, was it on the journey of trying to heal that you decided to go into naturopath?
That's a great question. When did I decide? I would say yes. It was when I really started to learn the truth about allopathic medicine. And when I started to learn the truth about what they're taught and how they're taught to treat and manage illness. I've just always had this inner drive to not manage illness, not manage disease, but to eradicate it altogether. And yeah. I just wasn't a fan of the solutions that were offered to me. So when I started learning that there were actual ways that we can not have illness in the first place, it just opened a whole new world to me. And I think like everybody else who's been in my shoes, we want to kind of scream it from the rooftops. There's another way. There's a better way.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about detox. First of all, why would somebody need to detox? I guess let's start there.
I think that's a great place to start. Why? So if we rewind the clock a little bit back to before the Industrial Revolution, before we were exposed to so many heavy metals and chemicals in the environment, before we were exposed to vehicles and electronics and all of the things, we simply had different illnesses and different diseases. Now we have heavy metals, everybody and every animal is loaded with mercury at minimum, and all of the other heavy metals that go along with it, that mercury makes a bazillion times worse. So heavy metals alone are enough to want to help your body do what it naturally knows how to do, except for the fact that heavy metals are a little hard to get back out. So then we think of things like glyphosate. Our food is sprayed with things to help the food grow and protect it from pests. But in the process, it damages our cells as well. It's not just the bugs that they're trying to protect from or the fungicides that they're trying to protect from. It really does damage our digestive tract significantly. And if people understand glyphosate, it is a hormone mimetic. So it really disrupts the endocrine system. It's just it's a beast. So just those alone, let alone all of the other factors that can be in our environment, like parasites and fungus and molds and all different kinds of bacterias. If we are not doing a good job naturally at getting these things back out of our body, that's when we really start to see a cascade effect of problems. And it's just a great idea to constantly support your body's natural abilities to try to get rid of those problems.
And it's kind of hard to stay away from glyphosate and heavy metals totally, right? We can do there's certain things that we can do, but it's not possible, you said?
No, it's not possible. It's in the air, it's in the water, so therefore it's in the soil. We can't stay away from heavy metals. We can't stay away from glyphosate. We can't stay away from really anything that's in our environment. What we can do is help our body get it back out. You know, so there's things that we can't control and there's things that we can control, right? So we can't stop breathing, drinking water, or eating. So we focus on what we can do, and we can help our body get that stuff back out.
So what do we do to help our bodies detox?
So detox is a really hot topic. It's really grossly misunderstood, and 99.9% of the time it's done wrong. Yes, detox can be done wrong. Detox can actually really cause significant issues like sepsis, even in some cases, because it can and has been done very, very wrong. One of the things that people might not really understand about detox is that we don't just, do a liver cleanse or a kidney cleanse. We don't just do like a 3-day juice cleanse. It's not effective. It's likely going to leave you really disappointed and out of money and not really seeing any change in symptoms. So what I try to help people understand is the most effective way to really support the body's natural abilities, and that is at a cellular level, inside of the cell, where all of the problems hide and where all of the magic happens, where all of the nutrients are actually supposed to be delivered, where all of the energy is produced, where all of the reactions occur that do defend ourselves and do protect ourselves and do keep us healthy. So the formula that I use, that our family uses, that I share with people, does work on a cellular level. It has a delivery mechanism, which is vitamin C, that delivers the ingredients directly through the cell membrane into the cell. And with it, it brings essential trace minerals. And if we know anything about minerals, minerals are our life, right? So it delivers minerals into the cell, and it simultaneously helps with the detoxification process. So it'll bind to heavy metals, it'll shred things, soft-sided things that make us sick. It has histamine properties. The list is long, what this formula does, but in a nutshell, what it does is remove and simultaneously replace. And this is important because when you just remove, you create a void. That void could create mineral imbalances. And further down the line, it can actually create a lot of problems, such as autoimmunity issues and illness rather than wellness.
And so is this a formula that you would take daily or every day, or is it something that you would just do a few times a year to detox, or explain that to us.
Right. So because we are exposed to toxicity every day, and because we really should be eliminating every day, I do feel like this is something everybody should be taking every day, if not every single day, maybe 5 days a week. If you want to take weekends off, that's fine. Your body isn't taking time off from bringing toxins in. So it's really an individual answer, what people are most comfortable with. For us and our family, we do take it every day. And I have no intention of ever not taking it, not only because of my own personal health issues, but like I said, the toxicity in the air, water, and soil is never going to go anywhere. And I I do feel it's important to support the body every day.
So is there different formulas? Is it all one formula? Can you give us an insight on where we can look at these formulas?
Absolutely. So that particular formula that I was just talking about, that one is actually called Clean Slate. So it helps us wipe the slate clean. It is one part of a protocol that the scientists put together called the Trinity. So there's 3 components to that particular protocol to remove, repair, and rebuild. So there are 3 formulas. Clean Slate comes in a little dropper bottle. So you could start as simply as literally taking 1 drop a day. Because it works on a cellular level, it's pretty strong. This is a quantum formula. It is going to work on every individual in their own unique way, because no 2 people are alike, right? Mm-hmm. So this formula is going to be used how your body determines it needs to be used first. Now, as an example, I've struggled with chronic fatigue my whole life. And of course, the first thing that I would want to eradicate is chronic fatigue, right? But that's not necessarily what your body determines as its priority. And because this works on a cellular level, it is very gentle. The regenerative properties also make it super gentle on the body. Often when we hear detox, we get an idea, and the idea might be unpleasant. This is an extremely gentle formula, and it works really beautifully with one of the others that also does help remove. This is actually called Restore. This one is really specific for the digestive system, where a lot of the problems reside, where we want to eradicate a lot of the problems, but also where we want to restore all of the good things. So there's a lot of antifungal properties in here, anti-inflammatory properties. Sorry. Little Miss Protection. Yeah, sorry. Little Miss Protector is doing her job. Always run the risk of doing that when we do a podcast. So the 3rd formula in the Trinity is a nootropic, which also, again, has a lot of anti-inflammatory properties. Can you still hear her? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. Keep going.
Anti-inflammatory properties, adaptogenic herbs. And if you know what adaptogenic herbs, they're used however your body determines they need to be used. So if you really need a lot of energy that day, they're going to give you a boost in energy. If you really need to sleep, they can help you sleep. That's what is so beautiful about adaptogen herbs. I love adaptogens. And those 3 make up the Trinity. So it is Clean Slate, Restore, and Zero In. Zero In is also great for athletes. It's just a really boost in performance. And what these 3 formulas are essentially designed to do are to support the body, mind, and spirit, the gut, heart, and brain connection, because it really does just a synergistic blend of full body wellness, not just the physical body. And like we talked about in the previous conversation that we had, it's important to address all of the spiritual, mental, and emotional components that make us who we are. And that's what these formulas do. They help support the whole person.
So what should people expect when they start taking the formula?
You can expect just about anything, again, because it's an individual journey. Most of the customers that I work with will immediately see a change in urine output, because this formula is especially the Clean Slate, it's immediately going to start to rebalance the fluids throughout the whole body. If there is water retention, that is going to go out the door. And it will start working quickly through the kidneys. So kidney function will start to improve, liver function will start to improve, but all of the organs as well, because again, this is a cellular formula, and it will work on all of the cells, not just the cells in the kidneys, not just the cells in the liver, not just the gallbladder. It's a whole body formula. And again, it's very gentle. So you shouldn't really experience any, detox flu. Some people might experience a little lethargy, barely noticeable. Some people might feel a little headachy the first couple of days. 99% of the people don't really notice a whole lot. Some of my customers have called me at 8 o'clock in the morning saying, I've cleaned my house, I've done the laundry, and now I'm doing grocery shopping. What happened? So some people do notice a burst in energy and a really nice change, especially if they've been fatigued for a long time.
Well, I love the fact that it's gentle because
Yeah.
you mentioned the flu-like syndrome, and that's a real thing. I think Shawn and I have done a liver detox, and it even said for 2 days to be prepared. And boy, by the second day, we were like, wow, this is a real thing. And,
Yeah.
the point about this is an ongoing exposure to our day-to-day life that we can't really change without doing something about it is very impactful.
Yeah, I agree. And I've done some of the cleanses as well. They were not enjoyable. One of them actually had me so dizzy I was crawling from the couch to the bathroom. So it was a rough day. This was many, many, many years ago before I really understood anything about anything. But detox does not have to be brutal. And in fact, it can be so gentle that you barely notice. And one of the reasons for this is because it does have those regenerative properties that are delivered right into the cell. The other reason is because the scientist who formulated this has to be very high functioning. She can't take a couple of days off to detox. She's a busy gal. And she's actually the one who discovered that mineral gapping is an actual thing, and regenerative properties have to be part of the detox to avoid that Herx reaction or that detox flu. It's got to help your body, but not incapacitate you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you think about how our bodies become toxic,
Mm-hmm.
they don't really become necessarily. I mean, there's definitely, sometimes where somebody does get toxic overnight, probably because they get exposed to whatever. But in general, most of us just exposed a little bit at a time over a long period of time.
Mm-hmm.
So, to try to get rid of it all at once is going to probably cause a lot of detox symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do it slower, it's not going to have the side effects that it could if you try to do it too fast.
Well, so a lot of people who are in the detox world are probably familiar with chelation therapy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is basically when we push all kinds of toxicity out of the cells into the body. What do you think is going to happen?
Right.
When you have a toxic dump? You're going to feel like a dump. I mean, it's terrible. And it's really unsafe, especially for somebody who's extremely ill or somebody who has significant digestive issues. And whether you believe in leaky gut or not, I do believe it's a very real thing. If you've got a leaky gut, you're dumping those toxins into your digestive system, which is now leaking into your bloodstream.
Right.
It can be a very serious medical issue. So detox can definitely be done wrong, and it can do damage. I know people who've done EDTA and chelation therapy and even the chlorine dioxide who have gotten so sick that now they're neurological. They have neurological conditions that they don't think they'll ever come back from. And of course, they're not willing to try anything again. So, interviews like this are so important to help people understand that it doesn't have to be brutal. It doesn't have to make you sick. And there is a way that we can support our bodies with what it already knows how to do, but is maybe just a little bit overburdened. Like you said, that day-to-day exposure is going to lead to a tipping point sometime. We think it's, I contracted Epstein-Barr and my life has never been the same. Well, it's all of the things that happened all of those days before you were exposed to Epstein-Barr or chickenpox or shingles or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's never just one thing. It's always all of the things.
And the reality of it is all these things in some form or another, I mean, maybe not the glyphosates, but even in some form or another, we have been dealing with toxins. I mean, since, we were created. So thousands of years. It's probably just a higher load now, but the fact of the matter is if we support our bodies to be healthy in the first place and give them the right inputs and the right, foods and the right ingredients, then, our bodies can detox, but we have to give them the right things.
Right. And you brought up a good point. Yes, the toxicity has been around for many, 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 many years, but it's also passed forward through the mother. And the toxicity actually increases with each generation. That's one of the reasons why we're seeing so many more illnesses and so many more people. Many years ago, cancer used to be 1 in 10. Well, now it's 1 in 2.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Well, our farming industry, our food industry has changed significantly. And I still remember my dad farmed and saying how these chemicals were going to kill us. And I think he was right because, he came from a generation where, the way we treated the soil was so different. Well, when we got into industrialization, those chemicals from our oil industry and things like that have made a huge difference in what the soil and the plants and the animals are being ingesting or, what we are taking in. It's totally different. And then you add all the processed inflammatory foods on top of that.
Right.
I can't say enough about, when people talk about, cereal being a starter of the day. And I'm just thinking, oh, are you kidding me? No, it's not. No, but you add all those components and then our lifestyle of how we live. You touched on the first episode about spirituality. Well, we never in our culture seem to find that point of finding release of our stress and relaxing because we've always are injecting things that are unnatural to us as humans, and I don't think we're going to get away from it. But at the same time, learning how to deal with those things is super important.
I agree. On all levels, like you said, spiritual level, mental thoughts that might not be very kind to ourselves. If people understood that our cells are listening to everything we think, I think people would really change their mind about a lot of things. And, the stress of life, losing loved ones, losing jobs, losing homes, all of the stress takes a toll on our bodies. It's so many factors. And I don't know that we truly understand self-care. Do people really understand what even self-care means? I don't know. I try to change people's minds and open that door a little bit, but it matters.
Well, and, some other things in that same topic is, not just stress, but, poor quality sleep, which stress can cause poor quality sleep, lack of sleep, sleep irregularities, shift work, all those kind of things that really add to the stresses of our body. And if you're not, my opinion is if you're not sleeping appropriately enough, long enough and deep enough, you'll never recover from anything. You have to be sleeping.
Yeah, I read something maybe a couple of weeks ago about 5 hours of that really deep theta sleep. That's when we really do all of our repair. And if you're not getting that solid 5-hour window of repair, there just isn't enough repair.
Yeah, I there's. It seems like in America, it's bragging rights how little sleep you can live on, and I just tell them good luck to you is all I tell them. It's like good for you. I get at least 8 hours a day, and sometimes get a nap, and I like to get more than 8 hours a day, and I'm proud of that.
Yeah, as you should be. And people who work out, bodybuilders, personal trainers, they're proud of their naps because they know that they need that recovery time.
Yeah. They shoot for 10 hours plus a day of sleep, or at least really, really, really good rest. So naps and sleep. And I admire that. I really do.
As do I. Yeah.
And then movement. Let's not forget about movement. I don't think it's possible to really detox our bodies if we don't move our bodies, right?
Well, that brings in the whole lymphatic system conversation, right?
Right.
And when people are inflamed or they don't feel well and they're in pain, the last thing they want to do is move. And that's actually what they need the most.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, we have to accept the fact that our joints are not as in our 20s as we age. And so we have to be kinder. But the times that I've had more pain in a joint is when, I've been sitting in a car or something like that, and you can't stretch and move. And if you don't move that, it just freezes up. I mean, so
Yes.
there's more stretching work you have to do to get that
Yeah.
moving. And unfortunately, a lot of people just feel like if it hurts, not to do anything about it.
Mhm.
And pretty soon you're frozen and you're not moving at all.
Yeah. I actually learned that as a teen when a lot of times when girls begin menses and they're so uncomfortable, one of the best things is exercise. Well, that's the last thing you want to do when you're exhausted and uncomfortable. You don't want to hop on a treadmill or go for a run or do a workout, but it's really actually the best thing that you can do when something's uncomfortable.
Exercise just treats a lot of things. And we say it all the time that there is no better antidepressant ever than exercise.
Well, I don't even think it's just antidepressants. I mean, because our own body produces endorphins too. And those things, are a natural pain response. We forget about, because we assume that now in big pharma era that everything that deals with pain has to come from a bottle, but really it's internal on how we deal with pain because our pain tolerance changes, but our own body can heal and give us relief from pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
And so, Lori, as we wind this podcast up, tell us what you have a passion for.
I really do have a passion for helping people heal, people who truly want the healing and really do want to understand how to do that effectively on all levels. That I can talk about that until the sun comes up again tomorrow.
And if anybody has any questions, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can find me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, email, all of the things. There's lots of ways to find me.
I'm surprised you haven't been banned from YouTube. YouTube's the worst about censoring.
Well, I've gotten creative with how I say the things that we say.
Yeah.
I've gotten a few. Yeah, I've got 2 strikes against me, so I've gotten a little more creative.
Yeah, we have to be careful too. We're streaming live on YouTube right now, and we have to be very careful because we've been. I think it's more than 2 strikes, but they're some of the worst about censoring. And I just really speaking of censorship, I lost my TikTok account a few months ago and had to build a new one because who knows? And I have no idea what caused it. It's silly what's going on with censorship right now.
Yeah, I agree. And Rumble is a little more free. So
yeah, definitely.
I don't know if you guys are on there, but I'm on there too because that you can say just about whatever you want there.
Yeah, that's right. And that's how it should be. I mean, seriously, even if you're telling lies, which we try to speak truth here, at least what we believe is a truth, and have people help us speak the truth. But even if you're telling a lie, it should not be censored. I mean, seriously, it's like that's for other people to decide, not some platform.
I agree.
Anyway, that's a whole nother topic.
It is.
So, Lori, thank you for what you do and helping us realize our goal, which is to educate and empower individuals to take charge of their own health. So I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
And listeners and viewers, thank you for tuning in to Health Solutions with Shawn and Janet Needham. Tune in Monday to our regularly scheduled podcast, 12:30 to 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you.